Part 5. Repetition builds identity. Discipline is not about achievement, it's about identity. You don't journal just to tick a box. You journal because that's what a calm person does. You don't work out to post about it. You do it because that's what a disciplined man does. The Stoics believed you become what you do repeatedly. So if you want to become a warrior of the mind, act like one, daily. This is how identity forms. You write even when you feel blocked. You become a writer. You say no to fast food repeatedly. You become someone who respects your health. You meditate each night. You become someone who chooses stillness over stress. It's not about one big breakthrough. It's about showing up, even when no one sees, especially when no one sees. Because in private, you meet your real self, and your real self is shaped by what you do when it's hard. That's the Stoic discipline, to repeat what's good, until it becomes who you are. You keep saying you want freedom. Freedom from stress. Freedom from financial struggle. Freedom to do what you love. To wake up without rushing. To live without constantly explaining yourself. But here's the brutal truth the Stoics knew. Freedom is not doing whatever you want. It's doing what you must, without being told. The modern world sells comfort as the path to happiness. But comfort without discipline becomes a prison. You wake up late, scroll mindlessly, procrastinate your purpose. You obey every impulse, and then wonder why you're stuck. Stoicism teaches the opposite. Freedom is earned through self-mastery, and self-mastery begins with discipline. Discipline is choosing what matters before you feel like it. It's doing what's necessary, especially when it's uncomfortable. This video is your wake-up call. We'll walk through the Stoic path to discipline, not the military kind, but the kind that makes you dangerous in a good way. Because when you train your body, your mind, and your will, no chaos, craving, or criticism can control you. You become the master of your day, and eventually, the master of your fate. Part 1. The Stoic definition of discipline. Discipline, to the Stoics, wasn't about punishment. It was about practice. It wasn't about following rules blindly. It was about aligning with nature, your higher nature. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." That means freedom is not external, it's internal. You can be rich and still be a slave to your urges. You can be praised and still be a prisoner of validation. True discipline is not imposed, it's chosen. The Stoic doesn't wait for motivation. He trains like a soldier of the soul. Wakes early, not because it's easy, but because it builds character. Says no to excess, because he values clarity. Chooses to rest, not out of laziness, but with intention. It's not about perfection. It's about preparation. Think of discipline as armor, lightweight but powerful. When life attacks you with stress, fear, or temptation, discipline protects your peace. It holds you steady. And here's the paradox. The more you discipline your emotions, your time, and your habits, the more freedom you actually feel. Part 3. Small disciplines, big results. People want to change their lives overnight, but Stoicism teaches great results come from small efforts, repeated daily. You don't need a perfect morning routine. You need one consistent habit. You don't need to write a book this week. You need to write one page today. Discipline isn't sexy. It's not loud. It's brushing your teeth even when no one sees. It's making your bed even when you're tired. It's choosing water over soda, not to impress, but to invest. Over time, these tiny choices stack up, and suddenly, you're no longer the same person. The man who couldn't say no to Netflix now finishes his workouts. The woman who feared judgment now speaks with clarity. The boy who escaped into fantasy now builds his real future. How? Through the daily grind. Every small act of discipline is a vote for the kind of person you're becoming. You're casting ballots not just with your words, but with your actions. And that's the Stoic advantage. We don't wait for the world to change. We build ourselves, one small habit at a time. Part 4. Boundaries are freedom in disguise. Most people think freedom means no rules, but total freedom often leads to chaos. Freedom without boundaries is like a river without banks. It spills, floods, and destroys. The Stoic understands true freedom comes from structure. You create rules for yourself, not because someone forced you, but because you chose to respect your own potential. Set time boundaries. Wake up by 6 a.m. No phone before journaling. Read 10 pages before bed. Set energy boundaries. Say no to gossip. Protect your focus hours. Don't chase people who drain your peace. Set emotional boundaries. Feel anger, but don't feed it. Listen to criticism, but don't absorb it. Help others, but don't abandon yourself. Discipline means guarding the gate to your inner world, not with walls, but with wisdom. You choose what enters your mind, what stays in your day, what deserves your attention. Because once you realize your time and energy are sacred, you stop giving them to things that don't serve your growth. Part 5. Repetition builds. Identity discipline is not about achievement, it's about identity. You don't journal just to tick a box. You journal because that's what a calm person does. You don't work out to post about it. You do it because that's what a disciplined man does. The Stoics believed you become what you do repeatedly. So if you want to become a warrior of the mind, act like one, daily. This is how identity forms. You write even when you feel blocked. You become a writer. You say no to fast food repeatedly. You become someone who respects your health. You meditate each night. You become someone who chooses stillness over stress. It's not about one big breakthrough. It's about showing up even when no one sees, especially when no one sees. Because in private, you meet your real self. And your real self is shaped by what you do when it's hard. That's the Stoic discipline, to repeat what's good until it becomes who you are. Part 6. The freedom you've been looking for. Now we return to the beginning. You want freedom. Not the kind that society advertises. Cars, vacations, applause. But the kind that lets you wake up with peace. That lets you say no without guilt. That lets you move through chaos with calm. That kind of freedom, it doesn't come from money or motivation. It comes from mastering yourself. The Stoics knew no external power is greater than inner mastery. When you live by discipline, you're no longer a slave to cravings, distractions, or approval. You don't follow trends, you follow truth. You don't beg for time, you own it. And over time, the very habits that felt hard become your new default, your new identity, your new freedom. So today, choose one small act of discipline. Write it, do it, repeat it, and know that each act is a brick in the fortress of your freedom. Subscribe for more tools to master your mind. Because the world may stay chaotic, but you can stay composed, focused, and free.